today was Skirmish Day for Warhammer Fest. So let's go over the news from Kill Team. The big announcement was a new Warzone, Warzone Moroch. These will have some fairly techy looking terrain, Phobos Marines, and Traitor Guardsmen. Let's go ahead and look at the models. So we'll start out with the Marine. Finally, we have a non-compendium Space Marine team, which means Marines will likely be competitive. I think these will be based off of the Infiltrator kit, and will be built off an upgrade sprue. With what we've seen from this team, I think it will be similar to the other Warzone teams, where there'll be a lot of specialization, where there's like a medic and someone with smoke grenades, stuff like that. So this upgrade sprue will let you take your Marines and really make them unique and different, and give you a lot of different ways to build your list, giving the team a lot of personality. So let's look through each Marine model and see if we can tell what it is. This one here looks like a leader. He's pointing like he's giving an order, and he has a tactical readout on his armor. I'm guessing he'll div APL or something along those lines. I'm not sure exactly what the guy in the back is, but he has a lot of ammo, and it looks like it's more than just the standard bits you would put on a model. So he might be some type of gunner. Maybe he has a way to shoot twice without a stratagem, or does something like re-rolling his attacks. In the back we have a medic. He has a medical kit as well as some kind of vital signs monitor connected to him. He'll likely either heal wounds or act like the medic from the Vanguard team, and help keep another Marine alive if he would take lethal damage. For narrative, I'm sure he'll have the medic keyword, which is pretty underrepresented in that game mode, so it'll be nice to get something for narrative as well. The guy up front obviously has a servo skull. He's likely the Vossbreaker model, since we know that's one of the model's names. That's actually an ability in 40k, which can debuff an enemy unit. I'm guessing this will be similar here, but it's hard to know exactly how they carry that over, since a lot of the 40k equivalent stratagems don't really carry over to Kill Team that well. So this guy in the back looks like a normal bolter Marine, and up front I think that's the Saboteur they mentioned. It looks like he has a detonator in his hand, and that thing on his leg might be a place to hold explosives. So he can probably set up traps or even trap objectives. Which we've seen a trap like that before, and the Space Marine teams have the Haywire mines. So that wouldn't be a huge jump to see something like that get implemented. So I don't see anything on these two models that make it super obvious what they are. I know there's some small stuff you can look at here, but it all looks like kind of standard bits you'd add on to a Space Marine anyways. So I don't know if there's anything unique enough to know what they are. They might just be the normal models. And here we have a guy with a purity seal and a combat knife. That knife just made him look hardcore, kind of like a Rambo knife. So he'll probably have some kind of slightly better melee profile. I'm not sure if he'll actually be a unique model or not. That just might be something to make him look cool. And up front we have a guy with a smoke grenade. I love smoke grenades in Kill Team. I don't know if they're actually popular in the competitive meta or not, but I use them a lot. So if this guy has the ability to use smoke grenades several times in a match, I'd really like playing him. I think it'd be really interesting, and it would really let this team decide their avenue of approach, even if normally there'd be a lot of openings and it would be a dangerous route to take. So now let's look at the blooded Kill Team. These are the Traitor Guardsmen who have left the service of the Emperor to serve Chaos. We do know they're supposed to be a dark version of the Vanguard, and they specialize in close combat. I believe in the stream they mentioned they won't actually have 40k rules, but you can proxy them as something else. If that is the case, I'm pretty surprised because normally Kill Team models get some kind of rules for 40k. The two big centerpiece models are a Traitor Ogren, which has a mutated arm. Super cool model. I'm glad we finally have an Ogren in Kill Team, even if it's a Chaos version. And we also have a leader model with a power fist. The next two models look like they're the long-range versions of the Guardsmen. I'm sure the top one is a sniper. He'll either have the silent keyword or something where he can fire from concealment. While the bottom one looks like it's kind of a regular Lasdun type profile. Then we get to see some of our melee specialists. I'm guessing the knife guy is going to be like the Orc Commando, where he has a throwing knife ability and a decent melee profile. He'll probably be squishy, but decently high damage if he can sneak up and attack you. And in the back, we have some kind of mace profile. It doesn't look like a power weapon, but I imagine it will still be decent damage in close combat. Then we have a plasma gun which was to be expected, honestly. I knew we'd have some kind of gunner profile. I'm sure it's where you can overcharge it, standard plasma gun stuff. And then we have this psycho-looking dude with 2 cleavers. I mean, just look at his face. No way that weapon doesn't have brutal or some ability that's going to make it an absolute pain to deal with. He has a weird body part collection on his back, so I kind of wonder if that's going to inflict fear, where everything's treated as injured, or some kind of debuff around him. I kind of have a feeling that might not just be visual, but it's hard to tell. Next up, we have my 2 favorite Traitor Guard models. There's a guy with a shield and a shotgun, which are the weapons of true men. In a world of unspeakable horrors and superhumans, this guy just has a piece of metal and an over-under shotgun. Then we have the grenade specialist. I'm sure he'll just have grenades that have blast, so he'll be shorter range but can do a lot of damage on multiple targets if you don't position correctly against him. I still need to look up the changes they made to blast, but I'm sure he'll still be a solid model against most teams. And our final 2 models are standard chainsword pistol combo, and a guy with a dagger and a long gun. So from first glance, this team looks like they'll have a lot more of a melee focus than the Vanguard do, and they have several models that don't even have a ranged option, as well as several who only have pistols, while most of the Veteran Guard models are entirely ranged. They also don't have as many non-direct combat options like commo, spotter, medic, stuff like that. It seems like every model is entirely meant to go forward and just kill your enemy. So I think even though they'll have a similar model count, they'll play very differently. And finally, we have the train. I think it looks good, but the way they have it set up is really weird. There's 2 big buildings on each side, and then just a dead man zone in the middle. I think if you move the walls around, it could be decent. I think the satellite piece might be a cool center objective, where if you control it, you generate additional CP or some kind of bonus. There's nothing to hide behind around the actual satellite, so it's probably going to be pretty hard to control. So my complaints here are pretty minor. I think it's a really cool war zone, so don't take this as me being super negative. My first thing is that since the Marine team is only one type of Marine, I think that means stuff like scouts and heavy intercessors are just even more out of the meta. I know a lot of them got an additional model recently, which did help, but this new team, if it's good, just means other Space Marine teams are even worse by comparison. There's not really a reason to play them unless you just think they're cool, which is a totally valid reason. But people on the internet like to talk about the meta, so I at least wanted to address that. Play what you think is cool in my opinion. Then for the Traitor Guardsmen team, the 2 big centerpiece models, which are the Ogren and the guy with the Power Fist, are actually not new models at all. They're completely brought over from Blackstone Fortress, which, especially the Ogren, is such a cool model. I don't know if I care, but there are some people that don't like it when they reuse models. Sometimes I don't like it either. Not something I personally really care about here, but I know some people will, so I at least wanted to make you aware that it was a reused model. And finally, I think the train is cool, but the way they have it set up just looked horrible for an actual game. Like, that's not a playable board, just look at it. Every model's out in the open, just kind of punching each other in the face with no cover. So I hope we get to see it set up for an actual match, just to prove that it can be a good kill team board. So I really am excited about these teams. I think I do like the Traitor Guardsmen a little more than the Space Marine team. Maybe I'm wrong, I'm just a heretic here. So that's totally just a personal opinion. And I hope we get to see more from the train. Just some other setups. So let me know if you have your own theories about these models and what you think they'll each do. Make sure to like this video, and thank you for watching.